Greetings and welcome back to the lesson. Today we are going to analyze the approaches to corporate governance in the public sector. Approaches to corporate governance in the public sector. Now, corporate governance in the public sector refers to the systems, processes, and principles by which public organizations are directed, controlled, and held accountable. You understand? Approaches to corporate governance in public sector. So we are defining corporate governance in the public sector as the systems, the processes, and principles by which public organizations are directed, controlled, and held accountable. And the aim is to ensure that public resources are managed effectively and efficiently to achieve public policy objectives and to serve the public interest. So there are several approaches to corporate governance in the public sector, and each approach has its unique features and emphasis. That is what we intend to study in today's lesson. We are going to give a brief adumbrration of the approaches to corporate governance in public sector. So the first approach is known as traditional public administration. The traditional public administration is an approach that emphasizes the hierarchical structures. It emphasizes bureaucratic rules and centralized decision making. It emphasizes hierarchical structures. It emphasizes bureaucratic rules and centralized decision making. These are the key features of traditional public administration. It emphasizes hierarchical structures, bureaucratic rules, and centralized decision making. And this structure or approach prioritizes accountability, but it is quite rigid and slow to respond to changing circumstances. Because of bureaucracy, change in this approach is not easy. Traditional public administration, that is the traditional public administration. Now, the second approach is a new public management. New public management. The new public management is yet another approach to corporate governance in the public sector. This approach emerged in the late 1980s and 1990s as a reaction to the perceived inefficiencies in the traditional public administration. It emphasizes market-oriented principles such as competition, emphasizes market-oriented principles. It emphasizes market-oriented principles such as competition, that is a market-oriented principle, performance measurement, and customer focus. It emphasizes market-oriented principles such as competition, performance measurement, and customer focus. And customer focus. Do you understand? And candidates, the new public management also aims to improve efficiency. It aims to improve effectiveness in the public sector, but it has also been criticized for its focus on economic rationality and neglect of social equity. So that is the downside of the new public management. It focuses mainly on the economic side of things at the neglect of the social equity. And I've said the approach developed as a result of the inefficiencies in the traditional public administration. The third approach is the new governance. New governance, or we can say new public governance. New public governance, that is the word. New public governance. New public governance. New public governance is an approach which is a response to perceived shortcomings of the new public management. You understand? Which emphasizes collaboration, network governance, emphasizes it emphasizes collaboration, it emphasizes network network governance and citizen participation. And citizen participation. It recognizes that public problems are often complex and require the involvement of multi-stakeholders. So the new public governance model aims to create a more inclusive and responsive and responsible public sector, but can also be complex to manage and may lack clear um, lines of accountability. So this one also has downside. We've seen it emphasizes collaboration, network governance, and citizen participation. The reason being that it recognizes that public problems are often complex and require the involvement of multi stakeholders. This model welcomes many stakeholders, or what we are calling network governance, but that in itself is also a challenge because managing many stakeholders can be challenging, and that is the disadvantage of this new public governance model. It may be complex to manage, and there may be no clear lines of accountability. The fourth approach is a public value management approach. Public value management approach focuses on creating public value, which is defined as the value that public services create for citizens and the society. So the public value management emphasizes the importance of understanding and the importance of responding to the needs of the citizens and their preferences. It aims to make the public sector more relevant and responsive, but it can also be difficult to measure and may lead to conflicts between different stakeholders. That is the public value management. The fifth approach is good governance approach. The good governance approach encompasses a broader set of principles, including accountability, transparency, participation, the rule of law, responsiveness, and so on. It emphasizes the importance of ethical leadership, effective institutions, sound public policy, and so on. So the good governance model aims also to create a stable and a predictable environment for public services delivery, but it can also be challenging to achieve in practice. So these are, in brief, 5 approaches to corporate governance in the public sector. And in the Kenyan public sector, the Kenyan public sector has adopted a mix of these approaches. The traditional public administration still plays a significant role, especially in government ministries and departments. However, there has been a growing emphasis on the new public management. There has been a growing emphasis on the new public management principles, particularly in the areas of performance management and results-based budgeting. And in recent years, there has also been a shift towards the new public governance, which the government recognizes as being important in terms of collaboration and because of the aspect of citizen participation in public service delivery. And we know that the Constitution of Kenya enshrines the principles of good governance. The principles of good governance are also enshrined in the Constitution of Kenya, including transparency, accountability, public participation as fundamental to conduct of public affairs. So here is your today's assignment on approaches to corporate governance. 1. Discuss the main approaches to corporate governance and the implications for public sector organizations. 2. What are the key differences between the new public management and the new public governance approaches, and how have they influenced corporate governance reforms in Kenya? 3. How can public value management be integrated into existing corporate governance frameworks to enhance the relevance and responsiveness of public services? 4. What are the challenges and opportunities in adopting a good governance approach to corporate governance in the public sector? In our next lesson, we are going to discuss corporate relationships in the government. Bye.